Welcome everyone. We are diving into a book today that you handpicked.
Oh boy.
And let me tell you, it's a doozy. It's called the Urantia Book.
It is a doozy.
And you specifically wanted to unpack its concept of God. And believe me, this isn't your grandma's
Oh
theology.
no.
Now, just to be clear, we're not here to convert anyone. Just explore the ideas this book
Right.
throws out there.
Absolutely. And it's got some big ones.
Mm.
It attempts to map out like the entire cosmos and define the divine in a way that's
Oh, yeah.
fascinating and, as you said, complex.
Understatement of the year. Right off the bat, this book tackles the problem of like even talking about something so massive, so beyond us with our everyday language. You
Yeah.
know? It's like trying to explain the ocean to a goldfish. So they lay down some ground rules, starting with words like deity, divinity, and even God itself.
Which is crucial, right? Because we could be using those words all thinking we're on the same page.
Oh, for sure.
But in this book, they have very specific meanings.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets juicy. They define deity as personalizable, meaning we can connect with it personally, but also pre-personal and super-personal,
Okay.
existing on levels way beyond our understanding. It's like saying, yeah, you can chat with God, but also God is basically a whole other dimension.
Essentially, they're acknowledging the paradox that we crave a personal God, but any God we can truly grasp is probably too small.
Right.
The book tries to bridge that gap.
By giving us a cosmic ladder to climb right.
Exactly.
Each definition is a rung taking us higher into this vastness.
Yeah.
Then there's divinity. Usually we think truth, beauty, goodness. But here it's also power and justice working on scales we can't even imagine.
Imagine looking at a tapestry up close. You see threads,
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
That's like our view of divinity.
Oh.
But zoom out, and it's a whole picture, maybe even a map that those threads create.
Right.
That's the larger divinity that the book's getting at.
Okay, now my brain's feeling the burn a bit, but in a good way. This isn't just saying God is love and calling it a day.
Right.
This is next level stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned a cosmic ladder before. Maybe you can walk us through that a bit more. What are the rungs made of?
So the book talks about 7 levels of what it calls deity function.
Oh,
That's how it breaks things down. It separates the finite, which is everything in our world of time and space, from the absolute, which is, well, everything else. And I mean everything.
7 levels, huh? So if God is ultimately beyond us, how do we even begin to wrap our heads around that? What's the starting point?
The book starts with something called the first source and center.
Yeah.
Think of it like the ultimate wellspring,
Okay.
the source of everything that exists, ever will exist, or even could exist.
Okay, so we're talking Big Bang, but even bigger, right? This isn't just the starting point in time, it's the source of all possibility.
Exactly. And here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
The book uses this phrase, deity liberation from unqualified infinity.
Whoa.
Now, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
But it's trying to explain how even God, existing as pure potential, had a kind of awakening.
Hold on, an awakening. For a being that's already everything. It's like saying the ocean suddenly realized, hey, I'm wet. I'm intrigued, but also completely lost.
Think of it like this. You have unlimited clay. It could become anything, but it's not anything yet. This liberation is like that clay taking on form purpose, becoming active rather than just potential.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So this first source and center, this awakened potential, what does it actually do? Does it have a 5-year plan? A cosmic to-do list?
Well, the Urantia book describes it as the origin of the I am, a term pointing to pure being, existence without limits. And from this, I am, emerged 2 other fundamental forces, the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit.
The eternal Son and the infinite Spirit. Sounds like we're getting into Trinity territory here. Is this similar to the Christian concept?
It's similar, but with some key twists. The Urantia book's Trinity is all about co-eternity. These 3 beings weren't created in a sequence. They always existed together, interwoven into the fabric of reality itself.
Okay, now my brain is doing backflips. So not just one ultimate being, but 3, all eternally linked. How does that even work?
It's about understanding different aspects of the divine. Think of light. It's one thing, but it contains a spectrum of colors. This Trinity is like that each member represents a fundamental aspect of God, interwoven but distinct.
A spectrum of the divine. I like that. But where do we puny humans fit into all of this? We're down here worrying about deadlines and dishes while these cosmic forces are well-being cosmic.
That's where the book's concept of the 7-fold approach to deity comes in. It's like a cosmic ladder. But instead of climbing to some distant heaven, we're climbing towards a deeper understanding of God step by step.
Okay, so 7 levels of understanding, each getting us closer to what? The ultimate truth of God. Is that even possible?
It's not about arriving at a final answer, but about expanding our capacity to grasp the enormity of it all. Each level, according to the book, reveals another layer of God's activity, another facet of the divine.
7 layers, huh? So what's the first one? Where does this cosmic climb even begin? 7 levels of understanding God. Okay, I'm ready to climb. What's on the first rung of this cosmic ladder?
Well, we've already met some of the beings on the lower rungs. The
Yeah.
eternal Son and infinite Spirit are part of it. Then there are the paradise creator sons, like the one who created our local universe. Above them are beings called Ancients of Days, who oversee entire clusters of universes.
Whoa, talk about a promotion, overseeing clusters of universes. This is giving me a serious case of cosmic vertigo. But okay, so these beings, they represent different levels of God's action in the universe.
Exactly. It's like each one embodies a particular aspect of the divine. But here's where it gets even wilder. The Urantia Book claims that we as humans have a direct link to the very top of this ladder.
Wait, seriously? We're talking about tiny, flawed humans stuck on this one little planet having a direct connection to the source of everything. How is that even possible?
Remember the thought adjuster we mentioned earlier? That fragment of the universal Father that resides within each of us?
Oh, yeah. The idea that there's a piece of God inside each and every one of us, it's mind-blowing and honestly a bit intimidating.
It's definitely a big concept. But think of it this way. It's like having a personal hotline to the divine. This thought adjuster is our guide, our inner compass constantly whispering guidance and helping us connect with something bigger than ourselves.
So it's not just about intellectually understanding these cosmic beings, it's about cultivating a relationship with the divine spark within us.
Exactly. It's about developing that inner connection and allowing it to guide our actions, our thoughts, our very being. The Urantia Book suggests that this is the key to unlocking our spiritual potential and navigating that cosmic ladder.
Okay, now this is starting to feel less like a lecture and more like a pep talk. We've got a cosmic ladder, a piece of God inside us. What else does this book offer in terms of understanding God?
Well, it also tackles the concept of the Trinity, but with a fascinating twist. You see, in addition to the eternal paradise Trinity, the Father, Son, and Spirit, it introduces the idea of evolving trinities.
Evolving trinities. Okay, you're going to have to explain this one slowly. You mean there's more than one trinity? And they change over time.
You got it. The book argues that as the universe evolves, so does the expression of God within it. It describes 2 more trinities, God the Supreme and God the Ultimate.
So are these additional trinities like upgrades, God 2.0 and God 3.0?
Not exactly upgrades, but rather expansions of God's consciousness as the universe grows and changes. God the Supreme, for instance, is evolving through the experiences of all creatures in the universe. Imagine a tapestry being woven from every joy, every heartbreak, every lesson learned by every being. That's kind of what God the Supreme is.
Wow. So every single one of us plays a role in the evolution of God. Talk about feeling connected to something larger than yourself. What about God the Ultimate? What's their deal?
No, God the Ultimate is even more mind-boggling. They represent God evolving on a level beyond time and space, encompassing realities we can barely comprehend. It's like trying to explain the concept of infinity to a dog.
Okay, you officially lost me at beyond time and space. But here's what blows my mind. The idea that even God is evolving, changing, growing alongside creation, it challenges everything we usually think about the divine.
It certainly does. And ultimately, that's what's so fascinating about the Urantia Book. It takes these big, complex ideas about God, the universe, our place in it all, and presents them in a way that's both intellectually stimulating and spiritually resonant.
It's been quite a journey, that's for sure. We've climbed the cosmic ladder, met beings beyond our wildest imaginations, and even discovered a piece of God inside ourselves. So where does this leave us? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, if there's one thing the Urantia Book drives home, it's that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves, eternally connected to the divine. Whether you take it as a spiritual guide or just a fascinating thought experiment, it encourages us to look inward, to connect with that divine spark, and to recognize the profound interconnectedness of all things.
To look inward and recognize the profound interconnectedness of all things, that's a beautiful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Urantia Book. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking for those sparks of connection in the vastness of it all.